Hey, good morning. It's Mark Weiss. I want to talk with you today about avoiding the Audi problem. I read today in the Financial Times that Audi, the unit of Volkswagen Group, is shutting down some factories and laying off many workers because of the inability to obtain the computer chips necessary to build components that go into their cars. This shortage is apparently affecting other manufacturers as well. So let's talk about supply chains and medical groups. Certainly, medical facilities have actual supply chains in terms of the expendable items they use, but so too do many physician groups. For example, a drug shortage might impact all surgeries, which might impact, of course, then not only the ability of surgeons to earn a living, but of anesthesiologists and others. But we could take this another step. We could look at medical groups and their staff as a supply chain. What can you do to make sure that you are covered in terms of staffing? Take, for example, a radiology group of 25 radiologists. What happens if 5 radiologists leave all at the same time? Now, certainly if those are 5 radiologists who are nearing retirement age, you can do things within your operating agreement or similar document to put some restrictions on the timing of the number of retirements. But you may not be able to do that if we're simply talking about employees. So what can you do? What should your thinking entail in terms of attempting to avoid those supply chain issues? You can have employment agreements that have long without cause termination provisions. You can have a program of recruiting even when you don't necessarily need to hire someone. In other words, to maintain contacts with individuals who might be interested in relocating to join your group if there is an opening. In terms of documentation, remember too, though, that even though you have an agreement that's as thick as a phone book, for those of you who've actually seen a phone book, picture that as maybe as thick as 5 or more MacBook Pros stacked on top of one another. An agreement that thick, well, if you're not going to enforce it, in other words, if you're not going to spend money, and if you're not willing to go spend the time to go to court to enforce agreements, then you might as well not have an agreement. But just think, in general, what kind of things, if there were to be a shortage of them, would impact your ability to operate, to impact your ability to make a profit, and then think what you can do ahead of time to try to lessen the risk, the impact to you of that happening.